Hi, it's Souza from psychotactics.com, and today we're going to talk about how to avoid headline confusion. It's very easy to get people confused with your headlines, so we're going to find out how we can stop that. And the very first way we're going to look at it is the first mistake, that is trying to solve too many problems. Then we start to look at a second mistake, and that is giving subheadlines not the quite the same authority as you should be giving them, giving headlines too much time. And finally, we're looking at graphics. And graphics are great by themselves, but they tend to clutter headlines. And let's find out how they do that. Let's start off with the first thing, which is trying to solve too many problems. That's mistake number one. How does this show up in headlines when we look at websites? Well, let's take a look at this page, for instance. You start to see that there are three headlines there. And when you look at it close, there's no time to write that white paper, stale content scaring your prospects away, and exhausted by writers who don't get your business. Now, these are three different headlines, and what we don't understand or don't realize is that people don't treat the headlines the same way. So you are trying to sell headlines, or you're trying to sell something to someone, and you're thinking, well, it's just like, I'm giving someone a drink, and a drink is a drink is a drink. But because they're so different, it can be a drink is a drink is a drink, and yet they're completely different drinks, and they solve different problems. They solve different taste buds. They appeal to different people. And so a drink is not a drink. So it's a mistake. And when we look at the three headlines, and we kind of tweaked those headlines here, so you can see how the three headlines are actually three different pages and will appeal, of course, to three different audiences. So let's look at the first one, which is need a white paper writer that will stick to the deadlines every single time. And what's happening here? It's all about deadlines. And then we look at a second headline, which is exhausted by writers who don't get your business. Now, this headline is about people who don't get your business. It's not about deadlines. It's about people who don't understand what you're up to and how your business is going about things. And finally, do you find yourself putting off writing that white paper? Now, here is a factor of procrastination, work overload, that kind of stuff. So what we're really looking at are three different scenarios, three different problems. One is deadlines. The second is the people that don't get the business, or writers that don't get the business. And finally, we're looking at procrastination. And yet, when we start to look at the headlines, we see it like this. On the web screen, on the website, we start to see it like that. And we don't actually get the message. It's also very hard to continue the body copy once you do that. Once you start to put in headlines like that, it's very hard. So let's look at some examples. You'll see the psychotactics.com homepage, and you'll start to look there, and it says, are you losing customers because you don't know how the brain works? And that's just one thought going through. You're losing customers because you don't know how the brain works. So the main factor is about losing customers. That's the main problem. The second is how to stop knocking on clients' doors and get them to call you instead. Now, this is the Psychotactics article writing course, and you can see out there it's a factor of attraction. How do you get those clients to call you? On the third hand, when we start to look at the info products course, it says how to create knockout information that instantly separates you from the competition. See that? And that's one thought, and then enable you to charge higher prices. Now, those are two thoughts in one headline. You can get away with it, but it's not the ideal situation. You want to make sure that you have one headline. So to summarize, make sure that you have one problem in your headline, because then you can have a far more effective body copy that follows from there. So we finished trying to solve too many problems. We're going to go to giving subheadlines the day off. You're going to see this in the next video, but you might want to catch some more headline stuff. There's the headline report on the website at psychotactics.com. Have a look at it. You'll find it's a very good document. It'll help you write headlines. In about 15 minutes after reading this report, you'll be writing your headlines. So go to psychotactics.com or catch us on Twitter and on Facebook. That's me, Sean D'Souza, saying bye for now. Bye bye.